Okay, so welcome back to another comic book review. This is like my third one that I've done on the channel, and I have to kick off this review by giving a massive, massive apology to House of M. It pains me, but for context, back in April, I did my first comic review, and it was of the first Marvel comic that I'd read, and it was House of M. And I'll be honest, didn't like it, did not give it a very good review whatsoever, and that was because I hadn't read Avengers Disassembled, which is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to be going through Avengers Disassembled. There are going to be spoilers, so you've been warned. This is the sort of back end of the 90s, early 2000s Avengers run, so if you're reading that and you don't want any spoilers, or you're not interested in like knowing any spoilers because you plan on reading it, then avoid this. But yeah, this is very, very crucial for House of M, and I'm really surprised that there wasn't just like, as I opened my House of M book, there wasn't just a big page that says, piss off and go read Avengers Disassembled, you moron, first. Like, and if you have read it, good, because this is essentially a two-part story. This is part one, and House of M is part two, and that's really, really important to know. So, big apologies to House of M, which has now been elevated now that I've read Avengers Disassembled. And it's not a long event either, it's only 4 issues, which is like an issue longer than the Siege event. So, if you've read Siege, you can read this. But let's get into it. What is the premise of Avengers Disassembled? It's pretty much what it sounds like, but there are a series of events that happen over the course of 4 issues that completely tear apart the Avengers in no way that anything ever has in terms of like a modern Avengers run. At least, like, in terms of what I'm aware of. That's what it's pitched like. And this has pretty big ramifications on, like, quite significant members of the Avengers team. So we have a nice picture here of like every single Avenger and Avengers adjacent character, because they all rock up to figure out what the hell is going on. But essentially, the story opens with the Avengers at Avengers Mansion getting attacked by Ultron, except it's not initially Ultron, it's actually Vision who kamikazes a Quinjet into, I believe, Ant-Man? No. Ant-Man gets, like, I think Ant-Man gets blown up by Jack of Hearts, who has returned from the dead, seemingly, and is like a human nuke. So Ant-Man goes boom, and then Vision bombs the Quinjet, I think into, like, Wasp? I can't remember off the top of my head, but it does some pretty heavy damage. And then, as Vision steps out, it's revealed that Ultron is, like, inside of his body and, like, spits out a shit ton of Ultron eggs. So suddenly the Avengers are being invaded by Ultron. Not to mention, at this point, we've already lost Ant-Man, because he's just been blown up by resurrected nuke Jack of Hearts, and Vision, in, like, a 1-2 punch. So, then, suddenly, the Kree and the Skrull come into things. Like, everything is just going wrong all of a sudden. Avengers Mansion gets obliterated. Like, She-Hulk gets sent flying and goes into a fit of rage. Kree are actively attacking the Avengers at this stage. There's this huge fight going on, and Hawkeye, with a shit ton of, like, incendiary flaming arrows on his back, straps himself to a Kree and, like, cannon fires himself up into a Kree ship as, like, a self-sacrifice, you know, boom. Like the Avengers film Nuke with Tony Stark, except Hawkeye ain't coming back. We've just lost Hawkeye. So that's 3 Avengers in the span of what has happened so far in this, like, one big attack. So She-Hulk has been sent into a fit of rage, which it seems like she's never hulked out like this before. And she is, like, on the brink of killing Captain America because she's just going berserk. Now, prior to all of this, we get to see Tony Stark attending, like, a press conference with a couple of other Avengers, and obviously, like, in the past, alcoholism has been a big part of Tony Stark's character. And suddenly he starts acting like he's intoxicated. And, he steps down off of the stage and he's like, what the fuck is going on? And he starts getting criticized by Hank Pym. And, like, words are thrown around that are quite extreme. And he's like, look, I have not touched a drop. And, like, none of them believe him. But something has happened to, like, his mind to kind of bring out that part of him. So, the big reveal here, the person behind it all, is the Scarlet Witch. And what an amazing reveal it was. And it was all because of Wasp. So Wasp and Wanda are just chilling out. And for context, Hawkeye and Wasp are dating, which is mental. And there's a reference back to like a bronze, I think it's Bronze era, just like a gold, like a classic retro era comic book where the Scarlet Witch conjured up her kids, Billy and Tommy. And, they were part of Mephisto. They had, like, bits of Mephisto's soul. And apparently she'd just completely forgot about that. She'd kind of, like, repressed it. And Wasp says something to kind of, like, set her off. And out of nowhere, like, all of these memories just, like, flood back. And it's all of this trauma about losing her kids. And whether or not she's even aware of it, she's causing all of this destruction. And it's a really, really sick reveal that, like, levels up Scarlet Witch. So, this completely changes House of M. Like, as I said at the start, this is part one of a two-part story that I wasn't aware of at all. It's just... If I had read this before House of M, I would have rated House of M so much stronger. I do think that House of M is still kind of like a little bit weak, but that's because of, I think I'm like adjusting to the way that Bendis writes, because Bendis is like the complete polar opposite to Hickman, and I've read a lot of Hickman and not a lot of Bendis. So Hickman is like very, very hyper detailed, whereas Bendis is like boom, 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 hitting the bullet points and like doing all of this epic shit in quick succession. Whereas Hickman is like, this happens, and this is the repercussions, and then this leads into this, and then this is the repercussion, and blah, blah, blah. So, if you're gonna read House of M, I highly recommend reading Avengers Disassembled for extra context, because it's so good. And this makes up a trilogy. You've got Avengers Disassembled, a 4-issue event that is very, very easy to read, and sets up House of M perfectly. You've then got House of M with, in that I talked about how, like, Hawkeye got brought back to life and then he gets obliterated again and, all of this stuff happens with, like, the mutants and things. And then you've got Children's Crusade, which I haven't reviewed yet, but I do plan on reviewing. But Children's Crusade is, like, the final act in that where we bring in Doctor Doom, you bring back Scarlet Witch, and people are trying to hold her accountable for all of these things because, she's killed Ant-Man. She's killed Vision. She's killed, because she is behind absolutely all of it, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed reading this. I cannot wait to add it to, like, my physical collection and have all 3 of those books in line with, like, my Young Avengers issues and stuff in between. I'm really trying to rack up, like, a chronological order from, like, the year 2000 to the year 2020 kind of thing, with all of my favorite issues and heroes and stuff. It's taken a while, especially because now I'm, like, crawling back into Batman comics as well. But this was really great. I think if you want, like, just the Avengers getting fucked up as, like, a nice little read, this is it. Like, you can do this, you can read this in, like, an hour, and it's just fantastic. So there we go. I would rate Avengers Disassembled. I can't remember what I rated House of M. I would give House of M in retrospect, alongside Avengers Disassembled, like a strong 7. Which I still think is a little bit generous. I think it sort of dwindles around a 6 or a 7. But Avengers Disassembled is like a strong 8 and a 9. Like, it's just really, really impactful. It's fun, and it's, like, shocking. and it's 4 issues. And it's tough to find an event kind of like Disassembled and like Siege that does like some shocking shit in such a small amount of time. It isn't, like I said, the drawn out Hickman style, you know, read 80 issues to get the payoff, which is still cool. But this is like a much more compact time, less time restrictive kind of thing. So yeah, I really, really do recommend it. I recommend both of these, and I recommend Children's Crusade. And you know, you'll see. I recommend all comics. Just go out and read comics. Get Marvel Unlimited. Read comics, because they're really, really cool. And yeah, this was amazing. This was really, really great. So if you've read Disassembled, do you enjoy it? Did you like it? Does it change House of M for you in any way? And how do you feel about like that being a trilogy? And then making Scarlet Witch the villain, which, you know, they've kind of replicated and tried to adapt for the MCU, and it's not really worked, I think, as much as they would like. But we're kind of, hopefully they bring her back, or they double down on it and make her the villain. We'll see. But let me know what you thought in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you, and bye-bye.